Thank you, Raphael.
I'd like to nominate Mark King for position of secretary.
Mark, would you like to accept?
I'll accept begrudgingly.
Bless you.
Any other nominations?
You good.
All right, since this will be adopted at the next LEC meeting, is there a need for a formal vote from the membership, or may we move on?
I guess, are there any other nominations? No one else
hear any.
approached us. Okay.
All right, we will take care of that at the next LEC meeting. Next up is officer reports, and I will begin as chair. As you know, for the last year and a half, we have been having some issues in the Libertarian Party of Michigan. I think it all begins on July 9th of 2022 at our summer convention. Andrew Chatterton was serving as chair, and he was removed by the body of the convention. Later that December, he made an as a result of an appeal he made to the Judicial Committee, he claimed to have regained that position. This is not correct. This is not true. In the process, he illegally stole digital assets from us and attempted to steal real money from us. We are now, because of caucus loyalty, being sued by the National Committee. The lawsuit currently restricts the type of language we can use to describe our group or how we can represent ourselves in public and or commerce. We are still currently fighting the lawsuit from National. There is currently a lawsuit in state court to regain the treasury, which has not been spent, despite some rumors. It has been frozen since the last time we spoke about it at convention. With the injunction against, there's 8 of us in the lawsuit, mostly officers of the LEC and a couple of affiliates. Because we would be personally liable for violating the injunction, we have to be careful with what kind of activities we can do. This is an informal meeting of members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan. Nobody said you and the rest of us are not members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan. I'm just chairing this meeting because we set it up. Coming up on March 9th, Andrew Chatterton and his board have announced a convention. This is the convention that will be recognized by the LNC. Again, not because it's legitimate, because it is because of caucus loyalty. For us to hold our own convention would put some of us in risk of violating the injunction. So moving forward, we have to start making choices about how we're going to move forward going into the May National Convention. The May National Convention could put an end to a lot of this. As a lot of you know, the National Party has been suffering since the last National Convention. 1 in 3 national members has quit. Donations are down to about half. The budget's been cut in half. We are losing staff. We are losing resources. We're losing our headquarters. State affiliates loyal to the LNC are now supporting members of other parties. One state affiliate has written a bylaw that allows them to support a member of another party, even against a member of the Libertarian Party in an election for public office. This is what we're up against at the national level and at the state level. This is what we have to change. And the point of this meeting will now be to decide what the best way we can do it as unified as we possibly can be. We've already demonstrated on numerous occasions, we represent the majority of the membership in Michigan by a substantial margin. This is a membership-driven organization. The centralized authority of the LNC cannot dictate to the members of Michigan who their leaders are. They are in violation of the national bylaws when they attempt to do so. There is a range of solutions. I want to entertain them all. I think we should all brainstorm this together, and hopefully we can all choose to voluntarily move forward on one or the other. Jim, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Can you guys hear me on the far end?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This isn't a question. Are we taking comments from the floor at this time, Mr. Chair?
We'll move to open floor after the rest of the
All
officer
right, I
reports.
apologize, then I'll lower my hand.
We will count that as my chair report. Moving on to Raphael, do you have a first vice chair report? Or could you recap the one from the last LEC meeting?
Oh, no. So the last meeting we had, I just talked about the temperature in the room, so to speak, at the affiliates. You know, we've got certainly a lot of turmoil in the state. A lot of people don't know what's going on, which is why this meeting is good, to clarify some of these legal matters, many of which we can't speak about publicly. There are several hostile affiliates to other uncooperative members. We've had a couple of affiliates disaffiliated, and so there's just this huge turmoil, which is turning off a lot of the membership, regardless of which sort of faction they support. And it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to let things play out in court. And that's sort of what I've been expressing to, membership at large in the affiliates. I have not personally gone to an affiliate meeting in Oakland or Wayne County since the Nationals trademark lawsuit, of which I'm a defendant personally. And, it's sort of calmed my activities. So that is the report.
Thank you, Greg. Do you have anything for second vice chair?
I'm the political director of the Michigan Libertarians. At this point, court orders preventing us from recruiting candidates. We do have one candidate currently on the ballot. Mr. Mike Saliba is running for, what are you running for, Mike?
Township trustee.
Township trustee, the only partisan candidate currently on the ballot. I have renewed my notary authority, so I will be able to notarize and sign candidate paperwork should that need arise later in the year. But hopefully, after the national convention, this issue can be resolved and we can all move forward and run candidates for office. That's all I have for you.
Okay, Angie, do you have anything to add as treasurer?
We again are not allowed to collect money for anything, but we are collecting money for our legal defense fund to pay for the attorney fees. Everybody has been so generous, and I want to say thank you again for all the money that we've sent so far. We currently have a balance right now of about $2,000, $1,980.07 to be specific. That has our attorney working on. There's actually 3 lawsuits. And I just want to remind everybody again, going back to what Raphael said, I understand everybody is incredibly tired of all of this. And I mean, we're right there with you, but we don't have the option of just dropping the lawsuit. They are suing us. We are defendants. We can't just say, all right, we'll just wait and vote him out next time. They're going to sue us. They're suing us personally. So it's kind of important, at least to me, that we win this thing, or which I have no doubt that we're going to win it, but we have to stay in it. Our attorney is taking the bank case on a contingent basis. Most of you may know that the University of Illinois has stepped in and is providing us legal counsel pro bono. Our attorney does still work with them, so he does incur fees for that. An additional lawsuit is there is some action with the FEC where they filed a complaint against me and Joe for filing a report with the FEC, and that was an official report in my capacity as treasurer. So, you know, I hear a lot of feedback, people wondering, you know, why are we still paying so much in lawyer's fees if the clinic is representing us? Because they're not the only ones doing the work. That's why. And I wanted to also mention here that, speaking of the FEC, it would appear that that the other board, the Chatterton board, did not file their year-end report on this. It was due on December 3rd or January 31st. Last time I checked, which was this morning, I did not see that it had been filed yet. Same with the state. The Mises Caucus PAC in Michigan did file their report, so that kind of lets us know where their priorities are. I did offer in the beginning of this to be the treasurer for both factions, you know, obviously before the lawsuit was filed, but thinking that we would be able to resolve this internally, because I just really wanted to keep us out of trouble with, you know, with the government while we fight about the membership. But it looks like that ship has sailed, and I don't know where that's going to go. Fortunately, again, Nick is representing us, and he's told them at least twice that we are not responsible for, you know, what happens in this time frame, because I am legally forbidden from filing a report with the FEC. In the mid-year report, I did file with them via disc because they took away my online access. But since then, the court order prevents me from doing that. So I think I've done all that I can to keep us in good standing, but they've just thrown up so many roadblocks along the way that I just can't, you know, I can't do it without, you know, violating the court order. So if anybody has any questions, I'm always happy to answer them, but it's just not really all that complicated right now. We can't do much except collect money for our legal fund. And so that's what we do. So I'll hand it back to you, Greg.
Looks like Mark has a question.
Do you mind repeating the balance of the account again?
The balance due is $1,980.07.
And I do just want to follow up on what Angie was just saying. I want to remind everybody, because I have seen it either on social media or just commenters, you know, why don't we just drop all this and settle it ourselves? Why are we using the courts? Blah, blah, blah. Why don't we just drop it all and figure it out? The 8 of us can't drop it. We're being sued personally. We're being sued as individuals. When you say, why don't we just drop it? You're asking us, you're asking Greg Stempel, you're asking Mary Bazuma, you're asking me, you're asking Joe Brunghart, people who are lifetime members of the party, you're asking former state candidates, you're asking people like Angie who have been putting in the work, people like Joe Brunghart. I can't name, I'm not going to name all 8 of us now, but you're asking us to put ourselves personally on the line when you're asking us to just drop it. We can't just drop it. You know who can just drop it? the national party because they're the national party and we're their members. They can respect what all of us did at convention. They can respect what the members of the state party want to be their leadership, and they can drop it. They're not on the hook liably. They're a corporation. They have limited liability. They have a treasury. We're individuals being sued, so we can't drop it. We have to fight this tooth and nail, and we are. I just want to remind everybody of that when you see people saying, why don't we just drop this case? Thank you. I think that ends officer reports. Now this will, oh, Raphael.
There's technically a secretary, and I do want to just make a mention.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my report is that the secretary elected in April last year resigned a few months ago, and over the last couple of months, I have been acting as secretary. But that's the only thing I have to report.
And thank you for doing so. And that will bring us to open floor. We do have about an hour scheduled for this. It's going to be a little bit hard to handle online, but bear with us. We're going to try our best. The first hand that I see raised is Raphael, and then we have Jim Fulner in the room. Oh, it looks like Dana.
Which you specifically asked in advance.
Oh,
Just to be clear, Angie, the balance then would be about -2,000, right? Because we owe about, that much. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
We got, and just in case anybody's keeping track at home, we got another bill yesterday. So if it's a little higher than you thought it was going to be, that's why.
okay. And I will say that I do know that both Dana Carver and Jim Fulner in advance said that they had a plan of action to move forward that they wanted to discuss. I will start that out with Dana since she started on hers first, and then we'll go to Jim, and then we'll go to the rest of the open floor. But Dana, whenever you're ready.
Well, my plan of action is to just get everybody back on the same page and back into the same room through unity. And there's one common denominator that keeps everyone separate. And I wrote a petition to try to remove that common denominator, and not based on anything that you guys used. I did my own observations and created a petition, and now one can choose to sign that or not. But the biggest thing is getting everybody in there and voting. I mean, if we're going to keep this party going as a party, it's got to be done. You got to, if you want to go to national, this is the way to go. If you want to try to change things in July or get candidates on the ballot, I mean, I don't even know which way to go. But my plan is to try to get us all back in the same room. And I have an affiliate up here up north that won't even rejoin at all till all this is settled, and they feel like they can have a voice in that room with all the members there. That's about all I have to say. Just sign the petition, vote, try to get back involved if you can. I know that the ones being sued cannot, so I know how that goes. So it's just a unsteady ground, and my only solution is to remove what I see as one of the main problems here. And if you sign the petition, you can maybe get that done.
Could you name that problem?
I mean, I guess if you want to, it would be Mr. Chatterton. And there are even new reasons to do such, but I can't change the petition now. And I can tell you some of the new reasons. He has reached out to non-members, and I know he's on this call so he can hear it, and I'm not violating any duties. He has reached out to non-members or non-residents of the state of Michigan to bolster his numbers so that we have to get more petition signatures. That is one of the many things he's been doing. he has a controversial person being our parliamentary person at the next convention. That's just another divisive thing. The miscommunication and non-communication with his fellow board members is another thing. And it's just an ongoing problem. It just won't stop. And I never had any animosity towards him, but I do not like the way things are going.
So would you say your biggest action point would be to remove Andrew and leave the rest of the board as is?
Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, because of notice issues, we would not have time to notice certain things. So I guess that the LEC would have to appoint people in those positions that become available, which would be a vice chair position. And then there's a few district reps, but they may be filled in March. But yeah, so there would leave one opening and that would be filled by the board. And it would stop the animosity and maybe get us to be able to move forward into something if we did remove Mr. Chatterton. And that way we could just start functioning again, maybe. That's my plan. Because right now, both sides are stagnant. You guys are stagnant. We're stagnant. There's not much we can do. And there's one thing that's just making things really screwed up.
Hey, Mark, do you have a question for Dana?
No, I have a comment for her. Even you're going to have a lot of animosity even with Andrew removed, because I don't know about other chairs of affiliates, but your current affiliate director did make threats towards us early on in this, and I do not trust her either. This is just me as chair of Huron Raisin.
Okay, thank you for the comment. I was unaware of that. I'm not saying it's the best thing, but it is a thing. So there may still be animosity there, which I can understand some of what I've seen in my own eyes with that. But I mean, it's either that or business as usual till 2025, and there may be nothing left at that point because lawsuits take a long time. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments regarding Dana's proposal for what seems like a plan to show up to the March 9th convention and remove Andrew as chair again?
I hate to interrupt, but the removal of Andrew's chair cannot happen in March because of the notice times. This would be more of a July plan because we still have to get back the requisite number of signatures. We're getting there, but just not quite as many as we need nowadays. And as long as we keep getting out of state members join, that number is going to continue to go up. So none of this can happen until then. But in March, there are vacancies that have to be filled on the board. District 8, 10, and 5 are all able to be caucused for at this moment. And then try to get yourself as a delegate to national, because if people think national is going to fix this, then that's got to be changed too. And you got to get voted in.
Okay, it looks like there's no other discussion for now. I mean, we can always circle back. We have open floor for a while, but now I will move on to Jim Fulmer.
Hey, this is Jim from Macomb County. I know a lot of people in this room have been around for a long time, so some of this won't be new. Those of you who haven't been around as long or haven't been involved in national politics as long, I just wanted to provide a little additional background. By no means is it the first time this has happened with the Libertarian Party, that there has been multiple groups claiming to be the state party of a particular state. Offhand, I recall the year 2000, which was actually a year before I joined the party, as I was only I was still in high school then. The Arizona had a similar situation. And that actually led to us only having 49 states for Harry Brown being on the ballot, as they took their ball and went home and nominated somebody who wasn't running, L. Neil Smith, as the presidential candidate on that line, which really confused some local folks there, as Harry Brown was arguably the best candidate we've ever had. National membership was higher after the end of his 2000 campaign than anything else. And people who were excited about voting for Harry Brown in Arizona couldn't do so. The situation in Oregon, I feel, is more closely related to what we're doing now. There was a very similar thing where they had a very small group of mostly Republicans who was recognized as the national affiliate by the LNC. And there was a much larger group who was recognized by the Secretary of State as the Libertarian Party of Oregon. We haven't yet crossed that bridge. I'm hoping we'll figure that out before we get there. And those of you who may be familiar, there was about 3 conventions in a row, if I recall correctly. It was 2012, 2014, and 2016, where a good portion of the first day of national convention business was who should be sat as the Oregon delegation. Even for times when the Republican group was the LNC recognized, the larger group was what the Credentials Committee recognized. And they were the ones who submitted that delegation. To my knowledge, there weren't the weird lawsuits we have now, but that's an option we can consider. I've voiced my concern to Mr. Saliba previously that if we don't hold a national convention delegation selection convention, that we will be in violation of our own bylaws. And if somebody just feels like screwing with us even more, they can use that as a reason to screw with us internally. A lot of us here are no longer members of the LPMI as chaired by Mr. Chatterton, as those of us who paid annual dues have likely not given Mr. Chatterton's group any additional money since your last $25 expired. So if those individuals are to choose to go to the Mises affiliated convention in March, they will have to make donations to that organization, which will be up to you guys individually whether or not you want to do that. Some of us don't have that decision to have to make, as we were already life members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan prior to this happening. When the Oregon situation finally got cleared up, a big part of that was the folks from Oregon submitting a slate of none of the above. In 2016, one of our largest conventions ever, when we nominated Johnson Weld, I'm fairly certain this was the convention, there was no Oregon delegation. And them choosing not to be involved was what got the guys in Oregon to get together and actually figure things out in Oregon. The problem here didn't start at last July's convention. The problem started earlier, particularly with the resignation of our duly elected, although I'm still not sure of that, chair and vice chair in Mr. Yao and Mr. Crazy Pink Shirt. Ben. Beck?
Boren.
Boren. And that resignation was based, at least in part, I believe, primarily by being concerned about what the National Convention did to the platform in removing the line that we oppose bigotry as ignorant and repugnant. And apparently this group here isn't necessarily a problem with that, as our attempt to add that to the LPM platform last April Fool's Day was rejected by the delegates in Lansing. But regardless, my belief is that the whole reason we got into any of this is being too concerned about what's going on at the national level. From a state election standpoint, there's no such thing as a national party. There is only a state party. None of this internal baloney is going to help us achieve liberty in our lifetime or elect libertarian candidates. In fact, we know at the very least the second is much less. To my knowledge, there is only one libertarian in the entire country who is the duly elected nominee of the Libertarian Party on the ballot in February. And he has not had a chance to campaign because he's been too busy dealing with this baloney. If you want to volunteer, reach out to me. I got some ideas I'm going to do without Mike's permission. That being said, sorry for taking way too long here, but my recommendation is that those of us who are willing to participate in the Chatterton Convention be selected as, or attempt to be selected as delegates by your local affiliate. Macomb is allowed 14. To my knowledge, we have one person who wants to go, and anybody who signs the pledge and donates us $10 is a member of Macomb. That we go to the convention and vote for none of the above and not send anyone from Michigan to DC. I know there are some people who think that it's important for us to be there. Of course, there's the presidential stuff. The truth is, all of the presidential candidates we have running right now are all pretty libertarian. I'm not concerned which one of those guys gets our nomination. And the truth is, in a delegation of 34, the maybe 15 of us who might show up who are anti-Mises, which I'm not necessarily saying I'm one of those, but I don't think those 15 votes are going to make a difference on who's elected to the LNC next time, in the hopes that the new LNC will just drop the lawsuit. So, NOTA, I'll be there in March. I'll make the same speech then. Andrew will probably cut me off much earlier than Mike did. Thank you.
Okay, I did want to touch on something Jim brought up, his example of Oregon, where there was a affiliate recognized by the LNC and there was an affiliate recognized by their Secretary of State. That's a possibility here as well. There is a board recognized by the LNC, and it's made up of a bunch of people that the Secretary of State of Michigan has never heard of. And there's another group of people that's made up of a bunch of people who have previous relationships with the Michigan Secretary of State. It's made up of a bunch of people who have been on the ballot for statewide office. It's made up of a bunch of people who have submitted slates of candidates before. It's the chair of the state party that submits a slate of candidates to the state of Michigan, not anybody on the LNC, no matter what they tell you. I think by the time we're ready to submit a slate of candidates, we should already have this resolved if we get everything together. I think we could have this down to one board again by then, but that's always something to think about. And in case I've come off a certain way, I want to touch on something else that Jim said. He says he's not necessarily anti-Mises Caucus. I want to say that I'm not necessarily anti-Mises Caucus. I think probably the vast majority of people who identify as being part of that caucus think they're doing the right thing, think they're doing what it takes to grow the Libertarian Party and spread liberty. I am, however, anti-Mises Caucus leadership. I think since the last national convention, it's been demonstrated that there is an effort to destroy the Libertarian Party. I think this comes from the people who donate to the Mises Caucus. That goes through their national leadership down to their state leadership. And I think they put forth a plan that, hey, let's do this. And everybody goes along and they think they're doing it to help, but they're doing it to hurt. I honestly believe that at this point, it was a conspiracy theory 2 years ago. Either I latched onto that conspiracy theory since, or it's actually true. Either way, the National Party wouldn't look any different. The National Party looks now like somebody is trying to destroy it from within. But I don't think it's the rank and file members of the Mises Caucus who just like Ron Paul. Go look at my campaign page. You know, it looks like I'm pretty into Ron Paul because I am. You know, it's not, you know, your friend who's not here who just happens to agree more with the Mises Caucus than with any of other caucus or point of view. It's the leadership of that caucus who have closed door meetings that aren't to the public, that take money from election deniers and members of other parties. I think this is an effort to destroy the party. So I think we do have to take this seriously. I don't think we can just sit back and let it go, but sorry for taking a little bit too long on that. Are there any questions or comments regarding Jim's plan to go to the convention and select a slate of NOTA delegates to the national convention?
Mark and Lisa's waving her physical hand.
All right, Mark, I think you had your hand up first, and then Lisa. And hold on, Jim left the room. Let me go get him.
Oh,
Jim.
okay.
Oh, whatever.
No, whatever. Okay, so I'll just say something as well. It's like, just to add to what Mike said, is that also we've seen from the Mises Caucus leadership that attempted to take over the LHC, that they've even funneled people to donate to the caucus directly using official party resources. So I agree with Mike's statement of that they're not really, that they're actually trying to harm the party instead of and further themselves rather than help the party.
All right, Lisa.
Sorry, I don't know where the wave hand button is or whatever. If Fulner's back on the call, I'm just not understanding. And Donna's got the same question in the chat too. I'm not understanding the voting for NOTA. If we've got 34 people in, clearly they're going to vote their people in. So they vote their people in. 30 of our delegates are their people, and the 4 are just NOTA. I'm just not getting it. If you could go over that more and explain it. Thanks.
Sure. So the only way we'd end up with NOTA is if the majority of the delegates to the March convention vote for NOTA and NOTA alone. According to my recollection, is according to their bylaws, that if you vote for NOTA and another candidate, it's not counted. I don't recall if NOTA is not counted or the ballot at all is not counted. So we would need to have the majority there vote NOTA, and then there would be no delegation at all. If we vote for any delegation, my understanding is if even only one person were to be receive a majority vote, my understanding is that would leave it open for their board to appoint up to 34 delegates and 50 alternates, regardless of what our convention vote was.
Thanks for the explanation. And I can see where it's a strategy and it might be a good strategy, but because there's some uncertainty about it, I think we all have to keep in mind that whatever uncertainty or ambiguity there is, you know, they're going to twist it their way. So.
Okay, any other questions or comments regarding this particular strategy to move forward?
I guess so. So regarding going to the March 9th convention in Grand Blanc, everyone will need to be a delegate from an affiliate or an unaffiliated region. So I hope everyone is aware of when their local affiliate meetings are. And for the people in unaffiliated regions, I don't know when you're going to be told that is, but we all need to be diligent to find out when their group plans to hold these events so that you can attend them to try to get delegate spots.
All right, does
Who's gonna
anybody
con-
else? Oh, I heard a
Yeah,
voice.
excuse me. Who's going to control the credentialing at this this convention?
Whoever Andrew and his cohorts decide. Andrew's on the call. Maybe you could answer it, but I don't know if he wants to.
I suspect it would be Mr. Jeff Patel from Oakland County, as he is still the membership director of that organization, as well as a member of their LEC. He's been doing it for the LPM for the last 10 years before that. So I don't suspect it'll be significantly different.
One caveat is that Mr. Patel is on a investigative committee along with Leah Daly and Trevor Stepp, and they have just suspended 4 members of the party. Mike Saliba, Angie Thornton, Dave Canny, and Joe Brungart are currently suspended from the Libertarian Party of Michigan. So that is something to consider. The delegates can
As they see it.
as they see it. The delegates should be able to override that decision, but they are suspending people that do not agree with them.
I have a request for information on that. How is it possible for an organization to suspend membership of someone who's not currently a member in good standing, as in they haven't paid dues?
I would assume the 4 of us would be blocked from paying further dues, but I don't know how you could suspend somebody who hasn't paid dues. As far as I know, anybody that we've previously suspended was in good standing when we suspended them, but they were blocked from renewing until the end of their suspension. If we decided to play by their rules, even they would recognize a reinstatement of the 4 suspended people at their convention. Angie?
I just wanted to say, to answer that question, the Dave and I are both life members, so we were that our membership status was never in question. I don't know about Mike and Joe, but we were, or we are, life members of the party. But what this means for us is that even though the delegates can override the decision and restore our member rights, we cannot get delegate slots before then. So we're basically out of the running for the delegate positions. We can't get nominated as a delegate because we don't have any member rights. And it's, I mean, it just is what it is, but that, I just wanted to answer your question there, Jim.
Thank you.
Say Dave.
Dave.
Dave, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. So, actually, if they do reverse that decision and restore our rights, we could be elected as delegates to national. That'd be fun. But beyond that, they in the letter, the notification I received, that as far as the suspension, it seems to suspend voting privileges, those type of membership rights, but we were still welcome to donate and supply money. So we, yeah, if we were annual members, we could probably be allowed. I don't know if any of us are, but I think we're all lifetime. But if we were annuals, it looks like we could still send that annual fee and have that restored, and they would take that money for membership. But it's that voting and other activities that were suspended. They invited us to donate and remain activists in the party, but they shut down the voting privilege.
It was very gracious of them to allow us to continue giving them money and doing work for them.
They're good like that.
All right. Do we have any other ideas anybody wants to float? Any comments about anything that we've talked about so far? We're all kind of going in a direction here. Does anybody have anything else? Any reason why why these are bad ideas? Any reason why these are good ideas? Anything else? Lisa?
Yeah, just got a question about these people that there's comments in the chats again too. Can Angie and Joe and all of you who are officially banned through the tribunals, could you get into Macomb and then we could present you? Stephanie's in the chat too, and she is unaffiliated. So do we want to discuss that now, or do we think we have enough spots? I mean, okay, Greg and I can go through Oakland. And but people who are definitely committed, do we want to get them in right now and settle that right now? So you've got a spot, don't worry. Once we get to Flint, you're in at our affiliate.
Yeah, it's probably true. They could be submitted maybe as alternates, and then upon reinstatement become activated. One of the judges of the tribunals was Trevor Stepp. He's on the call as well. Perhaps he could clarify.
Sorry, Mike, I don't understand what your question is.
So the suspended people, do they have any right to be sent as delegates by their affiliates?
Not currently, because they would have to be a member in good standing.
Okay, and then let's say all four are reinstated at the convention. They could not become delegates in any way. They would just be reinstated, but not delegates to that convention.
Yeah, I believe that the credentialing would happen, prior to us, the call to order. So
What
Yeah.
about with the 7/8?
There's always the 7/8. Yeah, I guess that would be it. I don't know if that can happen at all times during the meetings. I would have to look that up.
You'd have to ask Jeff exactly, but I don't think that a member, if you're not in good standing, you wouldn't be eligible to be a delegate to vote or to participate as a delegate. You could certainly come and watch. Observers are welcome, all of that.
I think Jim Polner has some input.
The bylaws of the LPMI indicate that affiliate parties are authorized to appoint delegates to the convention. Nothing in that indicates how the various delegations or the various affiliates make that decision. The credentials committee at the convention could choose to not credential an individual because their dues aren't current or any other reason. I don't think that carte blanche saying that an affiliate can't is accurate, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I think an interpretation of that would be they would be on the slate of delegates from the affiliate. They wouldn't get credentialed, but they could be credentialed later in the day if they were then in good standing because they were already sent as delegates with the proper 7 days, I think.
Yeah, that would match my interpretation, Mr. Saliba. I suspect Mr. Chatterton and Mrs. Harlos would disagree.
Robert's rules does state that the members do interpret the bylaws though, so we could bring it about.
For a second.
point of information.
Okay.
Point of information, Mr. Gilat, can you double check your congressional district? Are you in 2 or 3?
I thought I was in 3. I mean, I thought I was in 2.
Okay, in chat
yeah.
you said 3. I'll switch that
Oh,
then.
wait. I'm in this. No, I'm in the same district. I'm Ionia County. I'm in the same district as Kent. So I think I'm the same district that
Kent County might be divided up. I don't know the new
It is
district
divided.
lines, so
It is divided.
just within the next little while, just double check for me.
I'll look again. I checked. I may have written down the wrong thing, but I'll double check. Yeah.
Michigan.gov/SOS.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna keep talking through Greg's microphone. We still have a lot of time left in open floor. And I have a proposal that I want to make. I'm going to pull it up. A lot of the proposals have involved people who don't necessarily recognize the Chatterton board going to the convention put together by the Chatterton board, because that's the one that the national committee is going to recognize. And at this point, I agree with this. Like I already mentioned, there's the possibility of one board that's recognized by the LNC and one board that's recognized by the state of Michigan. But the state of Michigan doesn't help us get delegates to the national convention. And one way for the lawsuit from national to be dropped is for the makeup of the LNC to be changed to people who want to drop that lawsuit. So I know there's a lot of us who went to the Lansing convention who do not want to pay any attention to the other board or participate in any of their activities. But if we want to have an impact on the makeup of the LNC, which I do think is important, we would have to be the delegates sent by that convention. If you take all of the people who showed up to the convention in Lansing and compare it to all of the people who showed up to the other conventions thrown by Andrew and put them in the same room, Lansing is the overwhelming majority. I understand there's some people who did show up to Lansing who still might not, so we might not have the exact same number. Maybe at this point we'll have more, maybe we'll have less. At the least, what we can do is we can get as many of us sent to national to have an impact on the LNC selection as possible. But if there is a large amount of us, I do think there's a statement that we can make. I have a resolution. This is just a rough draft. It's open, for edits. We have time. Everybody has my phone number and my email. I'm going to read what I propose should be resolved at the next convention that will be a convention recognized by the LNC. I want the LNC to hear this and have to deal with it. Greg's going to put it up on the screen. I'm going to read it from my own. Right. On the state of the Libertarian Party of Michigan since the events beginning on July 9th, 2022, in relation to the makeup of the executive committee. Whereas it is the members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan who choose their own party leadership at convention, not the Libertarian National Committee by way of mandate. Whereas the bylaws of the National Libertarian Party clearly state the autonomy of the affiliate and sub-affiliate parties shall not be abridged by the National Committee or any other committees of the party. Whereas the bylaws of the Libertarian Party of Michigan clearly list a vote of no confidence in the chair and the chair's removal as a result of such vote by the majority of the delegation as a motion that may be made at convention with no qualifiers dictating the type of convention at which it may be made or requirements for notification that such a motion will be made. Whereas the bylaws of the Libertarian Party of Michigan also state the Judicial Committee shall decide cases involving alleged violation of these bylaws or resolutions, but it is the Executive Committee that shall determine and shall govern all the affairs of the party. Whereas decentralization and freedom of speech are core principles of the Libertarian Party, we, the members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, declare it resolved that Andrew Chariton was duly removed from the position of chair by the membership at the convention held on July 9th, 2022. Resolved that the Judicial Committee ruling given on December 26th of 2022 was merely a decision regarding a case before them as described by the bylaws, not a self-enforcing action capable of reinstating Chatterton to the position of chair, undoing months of work done by the Executive Committee since being elected by the membership on July 9th, 2022, or superseding the will of that convention. Resolved that the Executive Committee, as it was made up at the end of the July 9th, 2022 convention, was and always has been the only duly elected and officiating Executive Committee of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, with all the rights and privileges therein from that day until the end of term on April 1st, 2023. Resolved that the Executive Committee elected in Lansing on April 1st, 2023, is and always has been the only duly elected and officiating Executive Committee of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, with all rights and privileges therein from that day until end of term in 2025. Resolved that any action taken by Andrew Chatterton claiming to be chair of the Libertarian Party of Michigan or any member of a committee claiming Andrew Chatterton as chair is and always has been null and void, taken without the permission or recognition of the Libertarian Party of Michigan. Resolved, Andrew Chatterton must now renounce any claim to the position of chair of the Libertarian Party of Michigan. Resolved, Andrew Chatterton has been in possession of Libertarian Party of Michigan assets, including MichiganLP.org and Libertarian Party of Michigan social media accounts, and must return them to the duly elected Executive Committee of the Libertarian Party of Michigan or face further legal action. Resolved, Andrew Chatterton must renounce his claim to the Treasury of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, held in accounts at Comerica Bank, and immediately settle in the court case in which he is currently named as defendant against the Libertarian Party of Michigan Executive Committee, Inc., or face the consequences of that case and further legal action. Resolved, the Libertarian National Committee must drop its lawsuit against Mike Saliba, Raphael Wolf, Greg Stempel, Angela Thornton Canny, Jamie Van Elstein, Mary Bazuma, David Canny, and Joseph Brunghart, as they were and are duly elected officers of the state affiliate and its sub-affiliates, and entitled to all rights and privileges therein according to the national bylaws, or be subject to action by the members for violation of those bylaws and the core principles of the Libertarian Party. Now, we can pass that resolution, and the National Party is under no obligation to do anything about it. But they have to explain to the rest of the national membership why they chose to ignore the will of a convention that they recognized, and they will have to explain.
Well, Curious tried.
Why they will have to explain to a federal court judge why they're suing people they say had no right to state leadership in Michigan when Michigan just said they did.
Request for information.
Jim?
As we know, the Chatterton-led faction has a hard-on for notice. Do we have any reason to believe that they will think, or that it'll be ruled by the chair that that resolutions will be in order at the National Delegate Convention Selection Convention.
If we had the majority necessary to adopt this resolution, we would also have the majority necessary to remove Andrew as chair of the convention, if not chair of the party or LEC. We did that before. We did that in July of 2022.
So you're recommending we do as Mrs. Harlos did at the National Convention and oppose the ruling of the chair because Jesus told her to?
Because the will of the broad membership of the party told us to, yeah.
Mark's hand is up.
Mark?
Also, this would not be the first time we brought up resolutions on the floor without notice, so we have precedent on this.
I've never been at a convention where there was notice given for a resolution.
I know, yeah, exactly. So honestly, fuck you, Andrew.
Joe? Joe, then Angie?
Joe's just waving.
Oh, Joe is just waving. Angie?
I was just clapping it. Fuck you, Andrew.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was muted. I understand what you're going for. I have a couple issues with the resolution, not necessarily the attempt, but just, I mean, we can go over that after when we go to revise it. I think it all comes back down to what, you know, you just have to get back to the sole point of all of this is that the membership has the right to interpret their own bylaws. So anything we do, we just have to get the body to approve it. If we have to say the body is going to determine that this is not a special convention, this is a regular convention, this is, you know, that we're going to confirm the Saliba board is a legitimate board, we're going to get them to vote on what powers the JC actually had, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to go, I mean, I think everybody's so tired of bylaws by this point. There's a zoning out already. But in principle, I think that you're standing on solid ground. I think we just need to work a little bit more on why my opinion here, and I'll just go for this. My opinion here is that the Judicial Committee does not report to the board. The Judicial Committee is automatically authorized to hear bylaws decisions and then present that report back to the body that created it, which would be the membership, not the board. So the membership has spoken. I mean, the concept that the Judicial Committee can override the members is ludicrous on its face. And that is, I think, that's what we need to work on. If we're going to go through with this, if we're going to try to take over the convention, then that is, you know, I'm like, yeah, heck yes, I'm in. I have nothing to lose. So yeah, let's do this thing.
One thing I want to bring up, if you're asking yourself, why is it more important to do it this way than, say, forming a new unity board, electing a new board altogether? Why is it more important to do it this way than just removing Andrew? Why is it more important to do it this way than just waiting until the next convention? Because of the retroactive nature of this declaration, this is our best chance to keep the 8 of us who are being sued as individuals, people who you have all nominated to be chair, people who you've all nominated to be candidates for statewide office, people you've known for years. This is the best way to remove the liability that's against us and protect us. And as much as you might think it's better to form a unity board or find a unity solution that takes a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that would mean acknowledging the fact that the 8 of us were guilty in our court case. And please don't do that to us. Please help stand up for us and at least keep us out of trouble in this court case. And we will have another convention, and we will have other elections, and we will have a new board eventually, and it will and could be made up of a fusion of different people. I'm certainly not running for chair again. We will get to that. We will get to a reunification. But right now, you do have to think about the 8 of us that are being sued in federal court by our national party. And anything that we can put in front of the judge to show them that was not the right move really helps us. And it also sends a message to the rest of the country that is the members of the state affiliates that choose the state leadership. Michigan's first, but if they get their way, we're not last. They're going to do this to other states once they prove they can win, if they can. I don't want to let them. And so if a lot of you are thinking you don't want to show up to Andrew's convention, I get it. I don't want to give them a dime. But that's recognized by the LNC, and we have to shove this down the LNC's throat. And even if we don't get the majority to pass this resolution, even if we don't get the majority to remove Andrew as the convention chair and take over that convention, which he's hearing us, but we will at least have a few people that we can send as delegates to the national convention. And if a new LNC gets elected, that LNC might listen to this resolution as well, or that LNC might drop the case because they knew it was BS from the beginning, because most of the country knows that that case has been BS the entire time. Joe.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just a question. What's the date, time, and place of the convention you guys keep talking about for everybody on the call?
It's a March 9th in Grand Blanc.
Hyatt Grand Blanc in Flint,
Hyatt Grand Blanc in Flint,
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Put it up to your own screen. Highlights you.
No, it's backwards.
It's also the top of their website.
Yeah, it's
I
on
can
their.
see it.
It's on the
On
their
the top
website.
board.
It's on the stolen website. All right. Angie.
Keep doing that. I do want to remind everybody that if you want to go to Andrew's convention, that you don't have to buy a convention package. In fact, I would strongly encourage you not to. But the only money you need to pay would be the membership renewal if you need to renew your membership, and that's that. But don't give them any more money than you have to.
Trevor.
Yeah, I'm working on the convention committee, and I just wanted to encourage everyone to come out and join us and buy the whole package. It's going to be fun. We got Karen Ann Harlos for breakfast speaker. We have Axe My Tax Kara Wagner at lunch. We have a panel of people that are either on elected positions or appointed positions with Mr. Andrew Duke, Greg Whitaker, and Andy LaCuro. And at our presidential debate in the evening for dinner, we've got Chase Oliver coming out, Mike Termott, Dr. Charles Balalay, and Jacob Hornberger. So it should be cool. Come join us.
Thank you, Trevor. Mark?
I call for an absolute boycott of anything that Harlos has in any speech. Fuck that.
Can we please have decorum, Mr. King?
Yeah, in honor of Ms. Harlos, let's have decorum. Scotty?
Hi, apologize for coming on to this thing late. I just first of all wanted to applaud Mr. Mike Saliba on his bold approach to this matter and his desire to get involved with the national convention process. through the avenue that is recognized by them. And to use it to make a statement and hopefully to make this lawsuit go away. Because I know it has caused great hardship for a few members, but some of the most prominent and devoted members of this movement who have been sued. So I definitely feel for that. In regard to this strategy, for anyone wishing to pursue it, the one thing you need to think about before the Grand Blanc event is to get to all of your affiliate meetings in February. They're basically going to be delegate selection conventions for this event in Grand Blanc, and therefore that is where they get chosen. And I've seen some things on the chat about people being shipped in for that are people who to oppose you. Keep in mind that the bylaws, the bylaws that will be effective do put that control in the control of the Michigan residents, that selection process, and especially for the non-affiliated convention is going to be based on residency. Make sure to get involved with those. So if you have an affiliate, get in touch with your affiliate, be involved with the affiliate. If you do not, or if your affiliate has been, de-affiliated from this group that we're referring to, that you contact Ms. Daly, Leah Daly, because she would probably be the person chairing that event. That's what I would advise. So if you get in early, in the ground floor of the selection process, you're more likely to get delegates you want in the state convention, and that will carry on over to the national convention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scotty. Dave?
Yeah, Scotty, I don't say this often, but Scotty's dead on right about this.
What?
As far as getting these delegate seats done, it's important to get to the affiliate meetings and look for the unaffiliated caucuses to fill those seats, because the issue here is that any of those seats that are not filled, any delegate seats not filled by the affiliates or at the unaffiliated caucuses, according to our bylaws, can be filled by this unelected LEC at the convention. So basically, Andrew Company can fill all the delegate spots with people they choose to if we don't get those filled at the affiliate meetings and the unaffiliated caucuses. So it's really twice as important that we get those seats filled.
Hey, Aaron, could you mute? Thank you. All right, thank you, Dave. All right, so we're back. We still have some time left scheduled for open floor. We have 3 different but somewhat similar proposals, all with different angles. If you have anything to add or comment on either of them, if you have a whole new strategy that you would like to propose, now's the time. We're open to anything. I don't think there's any one way we have to do this, but I hope we'll all come to a consensus as much as we can as libertarians and unify as much as we can as a group. Lisa?
Just wanted to confirm that date. I'm not sure about the things about it. It's February 9th that we've got to pay them. Yeah, pay them in order to get in. Could someone please clarify those qualifications?
Only if you're a new member.
But I haven't been a member with them for a long time. Obviously, I'm a member of us, but they're not going to accept it. So just to be on the safe side, we paid the 25 to them, as much as that makes me want to vomit, by February 9th. Or could someone please just go through the rules?
Well, I don't think they've ever called themselves a new organization, just like we've never called ourselves a new organization. We both claim to be that which has been the Libertarian Party of Michigan since 1972. And you have been a member of that which has been the Libertarian Party of Michigan in the past. Mark had his hand up first and then Jim.
I was just pretty much going to say the same thing, but the consequence of that is since you were a recognized member, more than 30 days ago, you should be able to pay at the door. Because they would still recognize you as a past member.
Jim?
Yeah, specifically, the bylaws are not differentiated on this between the two organizations, is that anyone who has who first joined either the Libertarian Party of Michigan or the National Libertarian Party anytime prior to 30 days before the convention is eligible to be seated as a delegate. But like Lisa said, better safe than sorry. We know how much these guys like to make up the rules as they go.
Thank you, Jim. Dave.
Yeah, along those lines, if you're planning on voting for delegates at an affiliate meeting or an unaffiliated caucus, it would probably be best to be a member recognized by that party, rather than have them come back and say that those delegates are elected by people that weren't members and didn't have a right to vote. And just crossing every T and dotting every I would probably be a good idea.
Thank you, Mark.
Kind of like another thing that's happened before is, as chair of Huron Raisin, I've submitted delegate lists before and they've never rejected them once. So it would be just up to if you qualify to be a delegate on the spot. My list is my list that I submit. So it shouldn't really change anything up to that. So if you want, because I intend to pay at the door, for example, and the reasoning is because I do not want to be given National any money in their defense fund, period. So they're going to have to handle cash from me.
Yeah, that is a good point. The less time they have money is the less time they have to use it for anything.
Well, my purpose is I do not want to be handing any money to any lawyers that are against my fellow libertarians or my friends. So they are going to have to handle cash that they're going to have to put in whatever treasury they have. So at least it's going to a group that's not directly what they do with that money. I understand that I can't control that, but I wasn't the one that gave it to them or gave it to the National to be doing bullshit lawsuits that they even then hypocritically posted on Twitter that, oh, these are BS things. And then, yeah, pot kettle black kind of situation.
All right. I guess, I didn't really ask if anybody had any questions for me. Larry?
Oh, yes, I think the point that Mark and a couple others have been trying to make is that the link that is used to pay for the state convention appears to be routing through National right now because of issues with collecting money during these lawsuits and the locked up bank accounts, and that therefore, in reality, the money that you might pay ahead of time for the state convention is actually going into National's coffers. If you pay at the door, it's going into the state party's coffers, just a faction that we might disagree with. So it's going into different pots of money. I think that's the implication that they're making. I haven't researched it to see if that is actually the situation or not.
I see. That certainly doesn't sound like a decentralized revolution. Scotty?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to add to or respond in a way to the concern of misconduct in order to block a successful movement of delegates and people voting in even the affiliated conventions prior to this. That my experience has been, since I've already been at this thing of basically attending group meetings of whatever leadership group you want. I found that absolutely no misconduct. Now, the argument could be made that, well, that's because they had their way anyway, so they're not worried about it. But even things like, and I'm going to point this out, I mean, some people might think I'm a sellout or something, but I just went ahead and offered myself up to be on the platform committee. The majority of the LEC members of, and we're talking about, you know, the one chaired by Andrew, chose me to represent them on the platform committee. Andrew's an alternate on that. I have had cordial conversations with Carrie Ann Harlos in spite of ripping on her regarding her siding with the, you know, other group online and stuff. No problems. The meetings at which we had affiliate people selected, you know, from Wayne County to go as delegates to the previous, the Pinckney convention on July 15th. That process was not only done properly, but actually it was very open and receptive to pretty much anyone who attended the Wayne County meeting who was an LP member being a delegate to that convention. It wasn't at all even rigged within the rules. It was very above board. So I'm not saying there couldn't be something that isn't above board happening, and one should definitely be prepared for that. We certainly weren't prepared for that in the past. So definitely be prepared for the worst, but I'm just saying, don't let fear of the worst prevent you from trying. That's all.
All right. Still have a little bit more than 15 minutes left for open floor. And, you know, the open floor was really the biggest reason for this meeting, to get as many of us together to brainstorm at once in the easiest way possible. You know, thanks to Zoom, we can do that. Jim.
Just one comment I'd like to add to the Saliba resolution. I hope that those supporting such a resolution will do their due diligence beforehand to poll potential delegates or poll the delegates. And unless they have a reasonable reason to believe they will get the 2/3 necessary to pass such a resolution, that they would not submit such a resolution. Because I'm sure, just as it could be useful that it passes in your individual lawsuits, I suspect it could be used against you if it does not.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, not to make this such a, you know, side versus side, us versus them situation, but that's part of the reality of the situation. Andrew's on the call right now, so he's going to start calling as many people as he can to show up to the convention. And we're going to start calling if we decide to go either of these three routes, because they all involve showing up to the convention, to show up to the convention as well. Which is why, you know, for the people who showed up to Lansing, who think they don't want to show up to an Andrew convention, you have to do it. If we took the people who showed up to Lansing, that is 2/3 of what showed up to their convention. If we take the people who registered for Lansing, that's 3/4. We can do this. We are the majority. I've been saying it since day one. We are the majority, but we do have to show up, and we do have to convince, you know, our friends and fellow party members that aren't so gung-ho that if we want to take over this convention, we all need to do it. And we don't have to take over this convention. We could choose not to do that either. But so far, all the proposals have involved taking over that convention to one degree or another, to one end or another. Angie, and then Greg.
I just have a quick question. I'm confused because the bylaws seem to be contradicting themselves. So maybe Mr. Fulmer could weigh in. it requires that there be like a 90-day notice or something, but yet people can join 30 days before. How can that work? If you weren't notified, if you're a new member, how could you possibly have been notified? That's
Yeah, so that's not a notification to individual membership that our bylaws require. It's a notification to the LPMI affiliate parties.
That's interesting because it's not, I don't think that's what the judicial committee said.
I don't doubt that. The judicial committee made up their own. In my opinion, this whole thing really comes down to whether or not the judicial committee has a right to make a wrong decision.
And we can, I'd love to talk about this with you offline. I don't want to get bogged down here. But
I'll put my phone number in the chat and you can call me anytime you want.
Okay, cool. I just want to be sure if people join, 30 days beforehand, even though they've never heard about our convention until we called them, that's okay as long as they've never been a member before. And yet anybody who has been a member, they can't come back. They can't rejoin, or they had to have been notified 90 days ahead of time. It doesn't really make any sense. But as long as you're saying somebody who's, as long as they sign up 30 days ahead of time, then they can be in the convention. Is that they can attend a convention? Is that correct?
That's certainly my understanding. I suspect that's Mr. Chatterton's understanding as well. He's probably a better person to talk to about that than I am, but regardless.
Yeah, he changes his mind as
understandable.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for your input.
Yeah. Greg, did you have something for?
Just more of a point of procedure. Shortly, we're going to be going into breakout rooms by congressional district. For the record, there are vacancies in districts 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12, and 13. I still need to assign a few people. So in the chat, if the following people could tell me their district: Aaron, Alex, Andrew, Donna, Howard, Jamie, Jerry, Mr. Curtis, Scotty, Stephanie, and Trevor.
This is Howard Merritt. My district is 6.
Thank you, Howard.
Mark?
With me being selected as secretary, it will be my intention to resign as District 6, and I would also like to hold a caucus for District 6.
Very good.
I'm in District 2.
Point of information, though, technically these are not official appointments. So
not until the
not
next meeting.
Necessarily have to resign from 6 since you are only acting
Not until the next meeting when we actually select these things, correct?
We don't necessarily have to do it that way. This was a recommendation from the membership, and the membership.
Yeah, but according to our bylaws, like if the membership recommended me as secretary and I am appointed, then I would like to at least have a recommendation from District 6 to appoint a representative for that district.
Okay. I mean, as far as the bylaws are concerned, we could treat this as a recommendation that you remain acting secretary, is what I'm saying. Since this wasn't a convention. So you weren't.
But just
if you want to do it that way,
well, I don't know. Like it will all depend, and we'll figure that out. But if in the case, I would still like to hold a caucus for District 6 as well.
Very good. All right, and then Larry, you had your hand up. I think you put it down.
Yeah, I put it down. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm in District 13. I'm Scotty Bowman.
All right. Well, Mark?
Assuming that there isn't any other things for open floor and the congressional district is scheduled at 2, I moved for recess for 10 minutes.
What if we can just start the caucuses early since
Yeah.
Well, I have to use the bathroom, so I would like to recess.
All right. We'll start putting you into the caucuses, and once you're in there, you guys can all just sort of discuss a quick break. Recess is kind of part of it. So we're gonna work on getting you guys into the breakout rooms. Stay on long enough just to make sure you get put into the right room.
I am unable as host to join the District 11 caucus. So you will not see me there, my fellow district member.
All right, we're gonna start working on that now.
All right, I am going to open all the rooms. There's still 4 people I don't have districts for. Andrew, Jamie, John, and Stephanie.
Well, Andrew's 13.
Andrew is 13. I don't know that for sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll wait for him to confirm. All right, I am opening the breakout rooms right now. If you have been assigned to the wrong room, please message me.
Suspect I'm the only person in line.
Yes.
You want to be on the board?
No, but I will. As long as we don't tell the union.
No, we've never told the union.
I know. And I suspect oh wait, no, they actually have somebody in mind on their convention, so I can't be that thought's gonna be on both boards.
Miss Van Alstine, do you know what district you're in? Or you can tell me where you live. I have a map. What is she in Woodhaven?
No.
Woodhaven looks like it's 6.
I'm in District 2.
Who is I?
Stephanie.
All right, Stephanie.
Greg, I put mine in your chat, so look at the chat and you'll see mine.
So most of these just guys quit because they didn't want to deal with the bullshit.
Jamie, you're in 12. Let's see. How do I add? Hang on, I'm trying to figure out how to add someone after I've created them.
Oh.
Yeah. There's some pasta on the side if you want to like add a carb to mellow it out.
I don't see this as an option.
I mentioned before I was considering resigning because of a class, but I'm not taking the class, so I'm still on the board.
You want any help?
No.
Okay, let's see. Shoot.
No.
Jamie's in 12.
I usually stumble when I'm reading something.
The names are not in alphabetical order on this list.
It's only bread, by the way.
All right, Jamie is in 12. Just assigned her. Stephanie, what did you tell me? I'm sorry.
I'm in 2.
Okay, Stephanie, done. I'm assigning you to 2. Aaron Marinov, you dropped out. Where are you?
I believe the 9th.
All right, you've just been assigned to that room. Lisa, it said you didn't join.
No, I did. Trevor and I were in 7, but as I mentioned to Trevor, I never officially resigned. I never sent you guys an email.
That's true. You didn't. You did not. That's true.
So but I figured if someone else wanted, and I wanted the chance to be
Okay,
able
Andrew, are you interested in participating in the? Well, I'll sign you. I know where you live. I believe you're 12. I will sign you if you want to join. You can.
Those 12, not 13.
Joe, you are currently the district rep for that district. You should join.
I did. There was only two of us and we were finished that quick, so we're done.
All right.
Said you put somebody else at 9?
I did not. You were the only 9 as far as I know. All right, I'll either close all the rooms at a certain time or when they're all abandoned.
Joe, does that mean you're going to Oakland this month then? When is that, on the 21st?
I'll try to make it. I'm rather busy right now with a lot of different things. I'll try to make it if I can.
Okay.
Joe, just to remind you, you are the vice chair of the LMC, and our meeting will most likely be via Zoom.
Yes, I will be more likely to join that since it's via Zoom. Greg, how you been doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. So Lisa's still subbing. She never officially resigned. She only suggested it in chat.
Are you guys at Mike's house?
Yes.
Should have come. I made chili.
I brought coffee.
I'm trying to do my schoolwork while we're doing this.
Oh, the sun's out. I want to be outside.
Is there anybody who shouldn't hear us who can hear us?
Let's mute the
Jerry, are you back up here? Or are you still in Florida?
I'm in Florida, Lisa.
You going to be able to make it up here for the Flint convention?
No,
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't get back till April. So I
Well,
wish you all the best.
I can see you wanting to stay down there, though. We'll miss you, though.
I was going to ask Joe if he's in Oakland County or Wayne County.
Joe's in Oakland. He lives in Troy, I believe.
Oh, okay. So he's a neighbor. Okay.
Yep. I'll be here for a little while. I'm trying to buy a house soon, but not going to be in Troy. But yeah, Troy's okay.
Where are you looking at?
It's kind of a widespread search.
Well, it's beautiful out here in this state.
Somewhere where I don't have neighbors that can give me a high five when I take a bathroom break.
Greg, thanks so much also for doing all this. Do you need to take a break? Okay.
Hey, sorry, I was driving. Did I get sent a thing to join the 9th?
I'm sorry, who was that for District 9?
Oh, this is Aaron. Sorry, I was driving.
Right now it's you and Jim Fulner, so. Why is room 9 not available?
A minute.
You are actually you just need to join it. You've been assigned. to 9. So there should be some invites somewhere. I'm not sure how it works.
Okay, thank you. I'll find it.
All right. Raphael asked how to leave the breakout room.
There's a button that says leave. Click it.
IT guys.
Is he the RT guy? Thankfully, he's got nothing to do right now.
I didn't realize we could click on leave and it would say leave room.
That went a lot smoother than last time we tried this.
Well, there's also fewer people on.
Right. And I wasn't sharing and hosting the meeting.
How did I get myself in that kind of meeting?
What time do we resume?
Our agenda says 2:20, but we also started 10 minutes early. So we'll stop at 2:10 or when everyone's done.
I'll take the 10 minutes to help feed my children.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim is in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Admit.
He didn't know how to leave the breakout session.
Reassign.
Oh, okay.
Maybe reassign Andrew because he's not in, or Aaron.
He didn't join, but he's been assigned.
Can you unmute if you weren't already?
Unmute. I am
Hey,
unmuted.
Aaron, do you want to be on the LEC?
I guess this will be the default District 9 room.
Yeah, sorry, I'm an idiot. I can't figure it out.
That's okay. It's just
yeah.
you and Jim. Jim's right here.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a
Hi,
vacancy,
Jim.
so if either of you want to be on the LEC, you can fight about it.
Okay, so you can have it, Jim.
Oh, great. Thanks, Aaron. Just what I wanted to hear.
You don't have to join the LEC.
That's all right. That's what I want meetings to go to. Just don't tell my wife.
I won't.
Is Fulner still on the call?
What was that, Lisa?
Jim? Is Jim Fulner there?
He is here. Whether or not he's actually on.
I'm on currently.
He's here.
Okay. Just
Somewhere.
wanted to know if Z had Girl Scout cookies this year.
Yes. And I should have sent you an email a long time ago, and I just haven't got around to it.
I always try not to buy them in advance, and then I always break down at the
Because
supermarket.
I always get, well, last fall, I got a nasty gram by sending it to a bunch of people in her 4-H club. So now I have to like clean up the address list, and the system keeps crashing on me when I'm deleting addresses.
Oh shoot, she's still in there though, and she's still enjoying it.
Yeah, she's still enjoying it. Yeah, I think one of the main reasons she decided to keep living with me. Because her grandmother offered her to move to Oklahoma so she wouldn't have to deal with Jim. Wow.
So she wouldn't have to deal with you?
Yeah.
Daughters always have issues with their dads. Don't take it personally.
No, it's just her mother-in-law has an issue with me and thinks that I'm a violent, horrible person and no one should live with me.
I wouldn't say you're a violent person.
Well, you also don't live with me. So.
What about the horrible part though?
I left that one out.
I'm not currently making the convention.
No, Jim is, everyone here is fully clothed.
Well, we don't know that. Some people don't have the camera on.
Well, everyone in this, the three of us.
Oh, babe, look. Got a box cutter.
And you put a razor in.
Breaking news, thanks to the Google, I figured out I'm in the 10th district.
Don't we have an opening in the 10th too? You're muted, Greg.
Yes, go ahead, Lisa.
Don't we have an opening in the 10th? Because Aaron's in the 10th now.
What?
Aaron just said he figured out he's in the 10th.
Fred Hornt is in the District 10 rep. And there's no vacancy there, so.
Fred's not in 11?
No, Macomb is either 10 or 9, depending if you live south or north of Hall Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, most of it's in 10. The northern part is in 9, along with most of the thumb.
I just keep on thinking of the 10th as the thumb, you know?
Yeah, we lost the district because rules. Well, because taxes. That's
Yeah,
why
and
everybody moved to
Oakland's
10.
spread out over 5 districts, although one is with, District 11 is entirely within Oakland, but we have bits of 9, 7, 12, and 10.
In 11?
I'm in 11, yes. So we would have to file in Pontiac, not Lansing.
We can have one.
Oakland.
Is not District 11 one of the ones that'll be redrawn according to some judge's order?
I did read that article, but I don't know the actual districts.
It can't be for this coming election, right? They can't do that.
I don't think they'd have time before this
Right,
election.
I'm saying, they say good. But District 11 is racist, is that the deal? Not included. Is that what I said?
We're not muted. All right, this is your 2-minute warning. Well, everyone here is not in a meeting, so you can't hear me. All right, I'm unmuted again. So watch your language, everyone. I had 14 rooms because I forgot we only have 13 districts.
You'll finally remember that when we get down to 12.
Are the breakout rooms recorded or not?
I doubt it, because that would be 13 separate MP4 files.
It didn't warn us that it was.
I don't think it is. No, it isn't. I'm certain because I did record the previous National Delegate Selection Convention that was on Zoom.
Unless they changed it in the last 2 years.
That's true. But that would be a lot of video files.
Or 4 years. I don't remember.
All right, I'm going to close the rooms. It is 2:10, so. Go ahead. Oh, they got a 60-second warning. That's nice.
Districts. Recording and talk about stuff in our area. I'm like, me and Dana, what are you doing in Northern Michigan?
If I can just steal the floor from everybody real quick, I would like to remind people, please mute yourself. The guy opening the beer.
I enjoy the sound of people cracking a cold one. Thank you very much.
Oops, I thought I was muted.
All right, everybody.
Hold
on.
All right,
Jay, you owe us all a beer.
except Claire.
All right, everybody, we're back.
Yeah, we show up. If we all show up in one room, I'll buy everyone a beer.
If we all show up in one room, I'll bring a bit of the green stuff, Dana. All right. The districts that had openings to be filled were 3, 5, 8, 9, 12, and 13. Although if any other districts have anything to report, I can take that too. We'll go in numerical order. Start with 3 though, because that's where a vacancy was. Anything for 3 to report?
Okay, mark me down as District 3 rep.
Thank you, Mary. Football season's almost over. Don't worry.
Oh, it's done.
And we have meetings on Wednesdays now. 5.
I think, is that me?
No, we're 8.
Oh, sorry.
No one was assigned to District 5. So it remains vacant.
All right. 8.
8 remains vacant for the time being.
Thank you. 9.
Mr.
9 elected Jim Fullner as representative.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
12.
That was Andrew and Jamie.
Andrew is actually not in 12. He's in 13. I was in 12. I was the only one in 12. I resigned previously. And so there's no one in 12 either.
And according to chat, Scotty said District 13 remains vacant.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Do any of the other districts have anything to report? Mark, in District 6, you're raising your hand. Oh, yeah, because you guys were going to discuss that.
Yep, if in the event that I resign from District 6, we will recommend Lawrence Johnson.
In the event?
Yes, so we're gonna have a discussion about whether or not I'm acting or not.
Okay.
So at the same LEC meeting, you make me official, you officially make him secretary, and you make Larry official.
Okay,
That works for me.
that works.
Thank you, Mark and Larry.
And Jim and Mary.
And Jim and Mary as well from the other districts. Anybody else want to report on their breakout session? All right. Well, like I said, this isn't a convention. We're not technically really even voting on anything. But we do have some more time with open floor. Did anybody else have anything else to say? I will take anything from anyone, just your thoughts and feelings of how this meeting went and what you're thinking. Jim?
Jim Fulner, Macomb County. So although the LEC may be banned from recruiting candidates at this time, individual members are not. Let's go ahead and get as many candidates as makes sense. Personally, my recommendation is to get as many good candidates for county-wide offices that are partisan, things like sheriff and drain commissioner. I recommend against running against the clerk, just because let's have the clerk be our friend. And yeah, we'll certainly put whoever national selects as our POTUS candidate. And if we do all that, we should maintain ballot access through this nonsense.
Thank you, Jim. Joe?
Well, I just wanted to say a personal thank you to everybody that's donated money to the Legal Defense Fund, especially those folks that have donated multiple times or large sums. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And
Seconded.
also, I would like to put a plug in everyone's ear. We have, as Angie said, continued legal bills. So if anyone can find it in the goodness of your heart to donate, either the first time if you haven't donated before, or if you've already donated, if you have the ability to donate again, please do so as much as you can. I don't like asking for money, but in this case, I will just say a small number of very highly dedicated and generous people have pretty much funded the majority of this lawsuit. So anybody and everybody that has money that's willing to donate it, please do so.
Thank you, Joe. And I would like to also extend my thanks. I'm one of the people being sued. Joe's one of the people being sued. Greg is one of the people being sued. Anybody else wants to identify themselves as being sued? I don't want to maybe out people.
We already did them.
I guess we already did. It was in my resolution.
And they're on the signs behind me.
Oh yeah, 2 of them are on the signs.
I think 4 of them.
4 of them are on the signs, but
Wait,
we can't.
David?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's just some of the people who are getting sued.
Most of us have been candidates multiple times too.
And that's why, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's because Mary wasn't even on the board before today, right? So
yeah.
She was only being sued because she was a governor candidate.
Affiliate related reasons.
But all right, next is Dana.
Okay, I'm going to do some activism here. Jim brought up running for sheriff specifically, and there is a bill right now fast tracking through Lansing to remove our ability to put a candidate on the ballot unless you can find a Libertarian cop to run. It has already made it through the House. It's in the Senate committee right now. And it is a bill to make it to where to become sheriff, you have to be within the law enforcement community for a certain number of years. I don't have the bill right in front of me. It just popped in my head. Either as a corrections officer or a police officer, which would totally take that out of our hands. So this is totally a libertarian thing, and they're fast tracking it. So we have to get right on the ball with this one. Once the committee puts it on the floor, we got to do the thing at the committee, make our statements, write resolutions, do all the stuff to try to make them not pass this. And then also it's got to go to the Senate floor. And like I said, they're fast tracking this, and you know that the Queen shall sign it. It's just, I mean, we could do protests, we could do all the things, but that's, you guys know how the process works. So that would completely like cock block us on the whole sheriff thing. And it's like really important, and it's not being addressed by too many folk on either side right now. And it'd be really cool if you guys could like work with the legislative committee that exists and like really help us with that one. And there's a few working on it. Richard Brand, who's run for sheriff down there by Niles for like a while, he is like one of the only fighters, because both the Dems and the Republicans really love this bill. So it'd be fun if we had some kind of, you know, opposition to it.
Dana, out of curiosity, do you know if it allows for people with only military service and not law enforcement service?
As it's written right now, because they have not amended it, it does not include military service. You must be like a state or county or law enforcement or corrections officer.
Well, that'll make it hard for us.
Yeah. You know, we have more disaffected military members than cops.
We got Mike Tomat.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if anybody needs more information, I have a whole file on this. I would just have to go find it. I mean, it's a House bill going through right now. I've got the House bill and the people opposing it that I've seen so far. I've got a whole file going on, but
I mean,
there's
we
only
should
like
be able to get.
yeah,
Sorry.
there's only like 3 or 4 of us working on this from the Libertarian Party standpoint right now. So this would be a fun one if we all wanted to just do some activism together. You know,
We
fuck
should
the
be able to
board,
get
fuck
some
all that
traction
shit.
with Democratic representatives, particularly, you know, talking about the option of ensuring, you know, that we have an option to vote against police brutality, that we have an option to actually vote in favor of defunding the police. You know, these are all things that are part of mainstream Democratic Party now. We should be able to talk reasonably with those folks, not even having to use the L word.
Oh, that's woke.
Well, that's fine. We're the Libertarians. We've been woke for 50 years.
Exactly. All right, Angie, you're next.
There, speaking of activism, there is another group of people that I am actually not all that tied into, but I have seen it floating around. I spend way too much time online. So if you're not one of those people, you may not be aware of what's going on, which is that there is another group not tied to us at all, other than they are members of the National Libertarian Party, that is preparing to file suit with in DC court, alleging malfeasance by the national board that we've elected. And there's a whole bunch of reasons that they have, you know, just that, I mean, I won't get into those. I mean, I think we all know a lot of what the board has done, but they had a couple things on our list that even I wasn't aware of. So apparently they have found an attorney who is at least willing to take this case. If you are a member of National and you would be willing to join this lawsuit, if you want to, you can look it up online. I think the last one I think Sarwalk had something to do with it. I didn't know that. I knew about it before he was involved in it, but you can check with him or you can check with me, and I can hook you up with a link to check into it more. But again, you have to be a member of national, a lifetime member or a sustaining member, which means you're donating. It's there, and it's just another way to fight an unpopular leader. So that was, and then that's about it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but I'm really not all that up to speed on it. All I know is that they need more people to sign on. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. And I think, what's happening at national and what's happening in Michigan are intertwined. It's all the same motivation and really the same backing. So that's something you're interested in looking into. I know most of us are state and national members. Anybody else? Again, we're not going to make any decisions here. We're all libertarians. We're all going to do what we want, but we all know each other. We've all worked together for years at this point. You all have, friends in the party that weren't here that, you can make a phone call to, shoot an email to, let them know what happened, let them know what you think about, the options that we went over and the news we discussed, and we can all get together. We can all communicate with each other and decide how we're going to go, what we're going to do. Like I said, the best way to get to me is always text or email. I just put that in the chat. I'm available for anybody. Yeah, we've all known each other. We all communicate on a regular basis about anything from party business to barbecues. So, spread the word. We had quite a few people on this meeting, but there's quite a few people who weren't on. But yeah, we have to decide what we're doing. So far nobody on this meeting suggested just sit back and do nothing. I think that's where we're all in agreement. Third parties don't usually last 50 years at all. We could be seeing the end of this one if we don't do anything. I don't want to see that happen. I hope you guys don't either. But other than that, I haven't seen anybody else raise their hand.
Hey, somebody check on Jay.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Either Jay's screen froze or he's asleep and not moving. Jay!
Jay's got his video turned off, so it's probably just a screenshot.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was waiting to see if like a bird flew by or something. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. We have it scheduled to 3:30, but I think this went pretty smooth. We weren't really sure. We've never really had a meeting like this. Like I said, this wasn't a convention. This wasn't any sort of official meeting. This was members of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, which we all are, choosing to meet together on a Saturday via Zoom and talk. That's what we did. But if anybody wants to talk any further, like I said, you have all our contact information. And the Libertarians of Michigan still have our regular executive committee meetings on Zoom. Anybody's welcome to attend and observe or chime in during open floor.
Motion to adjourn.
Mike said it's not a meeting, so we don't need to do that.
Well, for
But that's the
adjournment,
most fun part of
Yeah.
the meeting.
It's practice. We can have parliamentary practice. I second the motion, Greg.
okay, hold on. I just wanted to, while I had everybody, I want to recommend a book. It's called Democratic Rules of Order. It's a replacement for Robert's Rules of Order, and it's only this thick. And only half of it is rules, the rest is examples. You can get an ebook for like $6. I just recommend everybody check out this book. But We had a call for adjournment, a motion to adjourn, and it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay. I like going to meetings. I don't have any friends otherwise.
We'll have a rump meeting after this. All right. Sounds like the ayes have it. We are adjourned, and I don't know. Go 49ers. At least we could lose to the champs.
Or go Chiefs just to make all the Republicans angry.
Or just watch the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, that's probably better.
I haven't
Puppy
seen
Bowl.
American football in 2
Team
years.
Rough.
All right, we are adjourned. I'm going to stop the meeting recording in 3, 2, 1.
Rough will kick